the actual lived reality of being a dyer is changing whatever you're doing to fit it. Like if I don't have teak forests, I don't have teak forests, you know? So what can I use instead? I'm an Indian woodblock heritage artist. I'm a printmaker by trade, so I learned printmaking and then came to fabric work later because of my Indian heritage. And I think of myself as an interdisciplinary artist, as a printmaker who works in fabric, and I combine a lot of mediums and do different types of explorations with different mediums.
Even though I learned to sew garments as a young child with my grandmother and my great aunt, and I sewed all my own clothes until I went to college. After that, no more time. As soon as I retired, I realized that I had a whole bunch of years left, and I have an interest in both garment making and textiles broadly, wall hangings, pillows, things for the home, artwork to some degree, but really I'm a much more practical person. And I took up sewing first and decided I wanted to design my own fabrics.
Ashley Gretchen said to me, I know this great woman who seems like Indiana Jones. She said, Bonnie runs marathons. She's like, a very dedicated person. And I was very interested, especially because when I talked to Bonnie was interested in quilts and in other communal practices that were different than the communal practice that I had come from. My communal practice and like my heritage is that people died together. And so that for me was something that was actually really important.
I'd started already working with natural dyes, and this was a really good opportunity to get more experience working on a wide variety of dyes with someone else. And you can always, work with both your advantages and their advantages in combination to achieve more.
And so we started off working in her space, and we really worked that out so that way we could sort of help each other by timing and getting things prepared. We talk about, okay, we're going to be doing this and this and this. And so the process of natural dyeing is so complicated because there's the scouring and the cleaning and then the mordanting and the pre-treatment.
When I've had instruction or I've looked online or looked at other books on natural dyeing, it's all based on experience and opinion. So you're getting a lot of experience in those books, but until you understand the chemistry, you don't know why something works or it doesn't work. So that was really helpful to start understanding the chemistry behind all of this and then being able to apply it.
And a lot of the ways that these processes had to be adapted, we had to be practical because there would have been times where it would have been prohibitively expensive or incredibly difficult or even just not feasible to do it the traditional way. So it was that adaptation that was really a good collaboration too, because there'd be moments where I'd be like, well, let's try this or let's try that.
Through mistakes and not mistakes and, sort of, that really worked well, and tried it the next time, not so well. We were able to come to some sort of understanding of how to achieve more or less what we wanted from those colors.
Bonnie had this great garden. So there were times where she was just like, let's use black walnut. And I would get these darker brown colors that were like the color of henna that were much easier to achieve, that were organic and plentiful, that were outside. I really do care about using henna when I need to use henna, but if I can get this and use black walnut occasionally, why not use it? Because it actually feels true to the actual Indian process of discovering what you find.
No two dye batches are ever exactly the same, but you can try and maintain some consistency by keeping records, which I do. My natural dye notebook here, where when I do a dye vat, I keep a record of the amount of product I put in it, what kind of water I've used, whether it's rainwater or tap water, type of material, sort of cotton and linen, or silk, because the dye will react differently on each one of them. And you replicate it exactly the next time, it's going to come out a little bit differently. The goal is to really figure out why it's come out a little bit differently.
I've really worked on perfecting the indigo and the distillation of the indigo to be able to paint with it and print with it. So I'm really looking forward to taking this process and using it in my paper work now.
I was able to compare natural dye colors, which are very subtle and variable, with the Procyon or the chemical dye colors, which are very striking and very clear. To me, the interrelationship between the two forms of color is very interesting. And I try to use that in my work, also with quilting and clothing.
I see the blue color becoming its own theme and its own concept, really, as a thing that's carryoverable across different types of things that I do.
My goal is to be the finest craftsman possible. And if I achieve art in the process, all the better.
People need to see all the processes and all the steps to really begin to appreciate it. So that way it's not just a static flat color, but instead a plant that becomes a color that then becomes, that may be then used on a block. It's just many different things. I don't think anybody should really ever die alone. I gained so much from being around others just all the time. I think that it was meant to be done collaboratively.